Governor Kerry Johnson. So I'd like you to put yourself in my shoes, and that is that, so just put yourself in my shoes and tell me what you'd think if you were me. I was excluded from being in the debate in New Hampshire because, according to CNN, I wasn't at 1% of national polls. 3 weeks ago, CNN came out with a poll that had me at 2% of the national polling. So that was kind of exciting. And then a week ago, CNN came out with their newest poll, which excluded me from being on the list of those polled. So I've got to give you my sales pitch. I have to tell you who I am. I'm actually a non-politician. I'm an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur my entire life. I started a one-man handyman business in Albuquerque in 1974 and actually grew it to over 1,000 employees in 1994. I've run for 2 political offices in my life, Governor of New Mexico and re-election as Governor of New Mexico as a Republican in a state that's 2-to-1 Democrat. I got elected. I think that was really significant. I got elected promising to bring a common sense business approach to state government. I made a couple of promises that there wouldn't be more state employees when I left office than when I got there. And there were 1,200 fewer state employees over an 8-year period, something that had never happened before. And I also promised to veto any tax increase at all. Now, of course, that could have gotten overridden, but it didn't. And I distinguished myself as Governor of New Mexico, having vetoed 750 bills while I was Governor of New Mexico, which, putting that into context, was probably more bills vetoed than the other 49 governors in the country combined. It really made a difference when it came to billions of dollars worth of spending. It made a difference when it came to legislation that would have passed that, in my opinion, would have infringed on your and my liberty, would have spent money that did not need to get spent. I think it's also important for you all to know that I'm an athlete. I've been an athlete my entire life. I think there's a dedication, a goal setting that goes along with being an athlete. I got to summit Mount Everest after I was through being Governor of New Mexico, and I broke my leg prior to going to Nepal. Now, as in life, you know, it's just guaranteed that things go wrong, and you can either sit back and accept that something's gone wrong and quit, or you can move forward. And in my case, I left for Nepal with a broken leg, believing that it would heal by the time Summit Day rolled around, if it ever did, and I had the good fortune to stand on top of the planet. I think it's important to have a goal setter in this position. I think it's important to plod along, if you will, toward important goals. And important goals for this country are, I promised to submit a balanced budget in the year 2013 as President of the United States. Now, I'm promising to submit that balanced budget. Congress may override that, but I am promising to veto any expenditures that exceed revenue. I am promising to dust off the fair tax proposal. I want to throw out the entire federal tax system and replace it with the fair tax, which is abolishing the income tax, the corporate tax, which in my opinion reboots the American economy to literally create tens of millions of jobs overnight. Because why would you create a job anywhere on the planet other than the United States if given the best business environment? 3 weeks ago, they came out with a report on all the candidates running for president and who had the best record when it came to jobs. And my response to that was, I didn't create a single job as Governor of New Mexico. Government doesn't create jobs, the private sector does, but as Governor of New Mexico, I vetoed legislation that was going to make business worse. And because I controlled all the agencies, because I controlled all the boards and commissions, I controlled all the rules and regulations, and they got better on a regular, daily basis. There was certainty in state government. I think we should abolish the Department of Education. I think we should abolish housing and urban development. I would have never established Homeland Security, believing that it is duplicative. I would have never established TSA. I would have left that to the airports, to the airlines. Real solutions to immigration problems that don't include building a fence. That's crazy. Believing in free markets. Free markets when it comes to health care, free markets when it comes to energy. Reform Social Security. We can save Social Security. It's not about cutting Social Security, but it's about reforming it, and that can be done. I'm putting all my chips on the table here in New Hampshire. A good showing in New Hampshire takes you from obscurity to prominence, and that's where I'm putting all of my resources. And from an entrepreneurial standpoint, if you want to look at the money spent by all the candidates and where they're at, I've spent the least amount of money because I've raised the least amount of money, and I think that's what's needed in Washington right now. And included in balancing that budget is a 43% reduction for the President of the United States in the executive branch. Let's ground Air Force One. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak here. And I really look, New Hampshire is the best political environment of any state in the entire country.